on 4.
Now Channel 4 Racing from Newmarket, introduced by Bruff Scott.
Symphonic remains the 2,000 guineas favourite, but after his trial defeat, they're lining up to take him on. Yes, today at Newmarket, the Craven Stakes is the crucial 2,000 guineas trial. It's over the full Guineas mile, and 8 of the 9 runners are entered in the 2,000, and Barathea has been showing so much at home that he'll be a very short-priced favourite today. On the racetrack, he's won 2 from 2. Here's how he started at Newmarket last October.
They come past the bushes. Just over 2 to go. Gabba the rail. And then Brown's on the outside, ridden along Black Dragon. Back here, the white cap is starting to weave its way forward. Also in the firing line press gallery, they go down past the furlong, and it's Gabba the rail on the outside with the white cap, finishing best of all Barathea. Wider still, yellow sleeves, white muzzle up towards the line. Barathea and Frank Giratori go on by a length to racing wide, white muzzle. Gabba tries to renew rivalry, the rail. But at the post, it's Barathea who wins.
Now here at the moment, the 2,000 guineas betting, which of course is run here at Newmarket a fortnight on Saturday. And note, there are 7 Craven Stakes entries, those are the ones in capital letters, in the betting, and 3 of them in the first 4. So that race is absolutely crucial this afternoon. There's been no rain here overnight. The ground is drying out, but still officially good, with a cool breeze blowing in from Siberia, but being warmed at last by the sunshine. 4 races live. We start at 2:35, 7 runners there, 9 in the Field and Stakes, 9 in the Craven, and 10 in the Ladbrokes Bold Boy Sprint.
Also today, we'll be meeting the lady who's just won £146,000 on the horses. She's later. Let's get straight into the action by looking back on the first race this afternoon at 2 o'clock. This was the Granby Maiden Stakes for 3-year-olds over 7 furlongs. Plenty of unknown quantities here, but the one the punters latched on to was a horse called Lower Egypt, a newcomer from the John Gosden stable, a son of Silver Hawk. He'd been showing plenty of speed on the gallops here at Newmarket, and they knew he had a late finish. A dramatic race in prospect. Betting at the off, JT.
Well, Derek, Lower Egypt was the 11-4 favourite. Drama Nice 5-1. Big Sky on 11-2. A Room at 10-1 along with Autumnus. And Stony Valley 12-1, 14-1 bar those.
So Timothy Casey a little bit slow in going into the stalls. They've said under orders and they're away, but certainly out fast enough in the yellow colours, Timothy Casey, and that's the early overall leader. From Stony Valley showing in second place. Racing wide in the dark jacket is Big Sky, but running through on the rails, A Room in blue. Timothy Casey leading by about a length to A Room in second place as they go to the first furlong. Drumanice on the outside of Big Sky, and not that far away in the red cap is Mujawib. On the wide outside of the pack is Autumnus racing mid-division. At this stage, Lower Egypt is tucked away mid-division along with Red Whirlwind running in the white cap. But it's still Timothy Casey as they go to the first 3 furlongs by about a length to Big Sky on the outside, Room, and just off the pace Mujawib. Then Lower Egypt behind these. Drumanice is coming with a bit of a run. Off the pace, Anorak. Looking for room on the rails is Glen Echo, but they've got just over 2 to go. Still Timothy Casey, pressed on the inside by Stony Valley, the white cap. Striped cap further left is A Room. Here comes Big Sky. Drumanice and the green colours are coming with a great run too. They're inside the final quarter mile now. Lower Egypt with quite a bit of running to do as Autumnus starts to make strides. This Drummonese going into the lead from Autumnus on the stand side. Back in third place is Stony Valley. Then comes Lower Egypt starting to pick up, but it's Autumnus in the lead now. The pink cap on the stand side of Drummonese. If we look between these two, but look at this. Lower Egypt is absolutely flying at the finish, and Lower Egypt just gets there from Autumnus. Boy, that's close.
And here are the starting prices. First, number 11, Lower Egypt, 11-4 favourite. Second, number 3, Autumnus, 10-1. And third, number 7, Drummonese at 5-1, 18 round.
And just look at this photo finish. It was that close, and that proves that Lower Egypt did get up. A lot of people on the course thought Autumnus held on, but it was Lower Egypt who got up. I just wonder if the jockey, Michael Roberts, was as confident about the outcome as other people. What do you think, Mike?
Yes, he was making up good ground up the, when we hit the rising ground. He didn't handle coming down the hill that well, so I gave him every chance. And once we sort of hit the rising ground, pulled him out, gave him a crack, and this was Flu, a nice horse, and I just thought I got pat in the last stride.
It's interesting. What can you do when, you know the horse is beginning to fly, but 2 out, virtually you could almost say you had no chance. Can you then sort of rush, or do you have to keep the same steady momentum?
No, well, you've got to keep the balance. That's important. This has happened to him. When they're quick enough, he couldn't quick enough with them straight away, and then we were coming down the hill, and he just couldn't, he was just rolling around a little bit, and I had to hold him together. But once you hit the rising ground, he changed his legs, and he was off on his, and really quick and real nice, So you just got to sit there and, wait for them to come ready underneath you, and then you can go with him,
John Gosling said he runs here again in 2 weeks' time on 1,000 Guineas Day. This horse could be nice.
He's very nice. He's got a very good turn of speed, and I think he'll come on a lot for the race as well,
Well, it's a good start to you for the afternoon, and it's a very important day for you. You've got 2 very interesting rides. First of all, Pembroke, first time out in the Fielden Stakes.
Yes, I've sat on him. He's a nice type of horse. He's a bit laid back in the morning at work. He's big, maturing, nice matured horse. I like him very much, we'll just hope for a good run with him this afternoon, and I think the 9 furlongs will suit him,
Would he be fit enough, or is there still a lot left to work on?
Well, obviously, I don't think he'll be 100%, but he'll be 90% there, and but he's still in a big race, I think.
Now, it's D-Day for Barathea today. The Guineas 2 weeks away, been very well back from 25s down to joint favourite with Symphonic. Now, he's unbeaten. What's the latest on him?
Well, I sat on him too, and he worked very well. I was very impressed with the horse. He's got a good turn of speed. Just hope for a big run today, It's a big test today for him, but he's a nice horse, very nice type of horse, very laid-back, relaxed type, and he'll be coming home strongly.
Super. Well, Michael, well done. Good start, and I hope it goes well for you this afternoon.
Thank you.
Well done. So, Michael Roberts, the champion, off to a winning start today. But I tell you what, I've got some very important news for you, because a certain member of the Channel 4 team is celebrating, if that's the right word, his birthday today. Happy birthday, Big Mac. 53 today.
It is not my birthday, and I'm not 53. Inaccurate information as usual. Let's leave that aside. Now, that Lower Egypt, back from 4-1 into 11-4, plenty of 2 grand and 1 grand bet, and it runs next to the Guineas meeting on the Thursday. We'll see Lower Egypt out again. Now, they're forecasting a pair of even money in the 3-5. That's Placerville, and it's each-way money support for Bitters End number 4 against Placerville, and Barathea in the Craven also put in even money with 3-1 War. So 2 even money chances, Placerville and Barathea. 4-10, the Steamer, number 4, Northern Bird, from 15-2 into 4-1. But I've spoken to the trainer, Barry Hills. He says none of his money is involved in the Steamer. They're showing here, they're showing 9-4 and 5-2 dime bag with 4 Mulhouse and 4-1 Not in Doubt. What is in doubt is who, in 90 minutes' time, will be favourite for the 2,000 guineas.
And so our first live race with the sunshine causing haze as they come through the Devil's Dyke to the 1 3/4 mile start. A long old haul for them. You see the commentators rostrum in the centre of your picture there, because you literally need 2 commentators here because it's so far away. And before television happened, everyone was completely in the dark. And don't forget, it wasn't until 1954 they actually had running commentaries, and indeed there was quite a lot of die-hard opposition against running commentaries. People said, it's all for newfangled nonsense, we don't want to know what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. You look in your binoculars. You looked in your binoculars at Newmarket, you saw a distant view of Cambridge, and that was all. Anyway, now the Tote Racing Post 10 to follow rated handicap, more of that controversial topic later on. This to commemorate the latest 10 to follow competition, which is just have a presentation after this, and the new one which starts on Thursday. 1 mile and 6 furlongs, there are 7 of them, 4 of which I'm afraid to say are not in the handicap at all. Here's the list from Graham.
And the top weighted Star Player at 3, Frankie Dettori. Number 2, Not in Doubt. At 7, Chris Rutter. Number 3 is Fly Away Soon. David Harrison claims a 3. That team were drawn 4. Number 4 is Mulhouse, Willie Carson in the 6th berth. Number 5, Dimebag at 2, Darrell Holland. 6, Ord La Belle at 1, Francis Norton. And number 7, Lynn's Return at 5. Andrew Tucker claims the 3.
And here's how they bet. Dimebag is the 5-2 favourite from 9-4. Not in Doubt 7-2, back from 4-1. And Mulhouse steady on 4. Star Player 11-2, opened at 9-2. Ode La Belle is 8-1 from 7s. And Fly Away Soon, now 8-1, opened at 6s. Lynn's Return, the extreme outsider, 33-1.
To cover Newmarket is a distant view. We have to have all sorts of modern technology to get to you. Here are the booms. Look, 3 high towers. I can tell you, when they put you up in those, our cameramen have to earn their fees. That's when they're low, but they go a lot higher than that. And this is a warmish day compared to lots of times they apply that trade. But because of those cameras, we can get you close to the action. That's what we're here for. And whether you're watching this on the racecourse or at home. And here, pictures across at the National Stud. Next year's or 2 years' time, those will be on the racetrack. The never-ending cycle of the thoroughbred coming through. 300 years they've been going since Charles I James I first came here, then Charles I, and Charles II started racing up this same Rowley Mile. Incredible, really. And a long time before that, the Devil's Dyke, which of course, as you remember, was put up to try and stop the Iceni being overrun by hordes coming up from what was Londinium. And now, as you see, Dimebag and Darrell Holland walking towards us. A man who knows all about Dimebag because he has some of the Barrier Hills horses with him. John Frankham along with Jim McGrath.
Yes, good afternoon, Bruff, and she's done really well, this filly. She's put a fair bit of weight on over the winter. She's improved steadily throughout the back end of last season. She won a 2-mile contest at Lingfield. Darrell Holland, who rode a winner earlier in the week here on Tyconic. I think is looking forward to riding her. Thing about this race, Jim, it's a mile and 6, and quite a few of these, the best trips have been in excess of that, and winning over 2 miles. Really want something here with a little bit of toe at the end of it.
Yeah, that's true. What's also important, John, is what's going to make the running, because no certainty, with the possible exception of Lynn's Return, that you've got a confirmed front runner in the field. But it's interesting what you say about Dimebag, because on the all-weather she appears to have improved. Certainly her all-weather form is better than her turf form early on last season, and if she can confirm that ability back on turf, well, as you say, she could have a big say in proceedings here.
Fly Away Soon, they're on the right, the former inmate of Paul Cole's stables. That one's been earning his keep over in France so far this year, been running at Cannes, and not really without any great success. The ground down there has been better than it normally is. This is a horse who you'd have think he looks very well, but he looks better than his form.
Well, you say that, but his form with Paul Cole, a pick of his form, he won a listed race as a 3-year-old at Goodwood, this horse. If he was in anything like the same form, running off this weight, well, he would be odds on. He would be an absolute raging certainty. The thing is, latterly with Paul, and certainly so far for Lord Huntingdon, he either appears to have lost that form or there's something not quite right with him. Although I did notice in that full show that JT just read, there was 1 or 2 people had nibbled at him at around 8-1. In lots of ways, that's the most interesting horse in the race, Not in Doubt. He made up into a useful stayer as a 3-year-old, culminating his season with a good second in a handicap over this course and distance. The significant thing, or what appeared to be significant, John, is that he wore blinkers on his last 2 starts, and they sharpened him up, and he hasn't got them on today.
No, I don't think that I'd let that bother me, because he actually ran some good races without blinkers, and he's had a little bit of time to mature, and he was always just a little bit on the weak side, this horse, and still ran some good races on his form in the Mallet handicapper. But York, where he had Star Player behind him, he's got a little bit in hand. Henry Canny only had a couple of runners so far this year, so still something of a sighter, Not in Doubt. But there's Star Player, former Chester Cup winner, didn't win at all last year, was a little bit unlucky last time out. up at McCririck. But he's a decent horse, this, trained now by Rodney Baker. And, well, he's standing there. Let's have some news from the birthday boy down in the ring.
And Star Player is a 6-to-1 chance. Quite significant opposition here to Dime Bag, who open bottle 2-to-1, generally 3-to-1, and one of the two bookmakers are showing Burlington Bertie 130. John Turner's board there's got 130. Dime Bag 4-to-1 bar, that's not in doubt. And Mulhouse 8-to-1 Fly Away Soon and Ord LaBelle, and Double Carpet at 50-to-1 against Lynn's Return. But they're opposing here Dime Bag. Come racing, you could get Burlington Bertie 130, but generally Carpet 3-to-1 Dime Bag.
I must say, it's very much against the spirit of things, Mac not joining in on his birthday when, you know, we all want him to buy us a drink and he won't even acknowledge that he's 53. Looks 63, of course. Hello, sweetie.
True. Oh, wait. All right.
Last a race, and so they sort themselves out through the first furlong, and indeed not that much pace on early, as Jim indicated. Fly Away Soon, probably just the early leader. Fly Away Soon, Mulhouse, taking quite a keen hold, just off the pace, not in doubt. And as they come through the first furlong, it's Ord LaBelle that's gone on now. Ord LaBelle by a length. In fact, Ord LaBelle playing second fiddle. It is Fly Away Soon from Ord LaBelle, with Not in Doubt in third place, and then Mulhouse in 4. Dime Bag on the outside, 5. And Lynn's Return, the back marker, the one that we expected to make the running. Star Player near last and first, but just one turn to make in this Tote Racing Post 10 to follow rated stakes. And they're at it now, and it's Fly Away Soon leading by a length or so to Ord LaBelle in second place. And then Not in Doubt the Rails in third. Showing in fourth in the green colours is Mulhouse, followed by Dime Bag and Star Player. So Fly Away Soon and David Harrison doing the donkey work, followed by Ord LaBelle in second, and then Dime Bag the yellow sleeves, Not in Doubt, Mulhouse and Star Player, and Lynn's Return. The chasing pair are Ord LaBelle and Dime Bag, and Darrell Holland now gets Dime Bag to the front, going on by about a half. 2 Ord LaBelle in second, and then Fly Away Soon the rail third. These 4 clear of Not in Doubt, and Mulhouse just being niggled along the horse with a noseband. Star Player making ground on the inside there, back in 5th place under Frankie Dettori, but Dime Bag making the best of a way home. Ord LaBelle shares second with Fly Away Soon. And then just behind the pace, Star Player. Mulhouse on an even keel now. And Lynn's Return trying to make a bit of ground on the wide outside of the pack, the horse with the noseband. Getting serious up front, still got over half a mile to go. Dime Bag the leader from Fly Away Soon. Ord LaBelle ridden along. Star Player is the one that's making smooth progress through into third place on the rails. Not in Doubt and Chris Rutter being rode along. But Dime Bag, Darrell Holland kicking on now as they come past the 3 by about 3 parts of the length. Star Player pulled to the outside of Fly Away Soon. They've got 2.5 to go, and Dime Bag in the lead. Fly Away Soon. Star Player, the big challenger in the green cap, then a length and a half back toward LaBelle, race down to the dip, and Dime Bag has quickened clear again by a length and a half or so. Star Player stays on really well and trying to put in a big challenge as they come past the furlong pole. Dime Bag under pressure now. Star Player down the centre of the track is between these two. They're a long way clear. Dime Bag in the lead from Star Player in second. It'll be close to the line, but Dime Bag will hold the Raiders at bay. Dime Bag takes it from Star Player with Not in Doubt third. And then behind these came Fly Away Soon in the field. Trail back to Lynn's Return, who was last of all. The result then of this, the Tote Racing Post 10 to follow rated stakes. It's a win for number 5, Dime Bag, in the colours of Mr. R.J. McAlpine, trained at Lambourne by Barry Hills and ridden by Darrell Holland. Second horse home is number 1, Star Player, ridden by Frankie Dettori. Third horse home, number 2, Not in Doubt, and Chris Rutter. So this daughter of Highline, who had shown the improved form on the all-weather, certainly justified 3-to-1 favouritism and a big prize for those who supported her. Star Player has to give Dime Bag a stone in this particular handicap of the weights carried today. And he's put in an encouraging run for another crack at the Chester Cup later on. A lot of money to be won with big staying in big staying handicaps this year. But Darrell Holland, smooth, accomplished, and the performer on the winner of this mile and three-quarter race.
And
well, Barry, I was going to say, Barry, I interviewed Barry Hills many years ago, and he told me that the big thing with young jockeys not coming through is not so much whether they've got ability. That is established very quickly. It's giving them experience, and in a lot of races over a mile and a half, 2 miles, it's only with practice that experience comes, of course, and they get fewer opportunities over the longer distance. But Darrell Holland's experience showed here. He was quite cool. There was no gallop early on, and I thought it might turn into a sprint, but very early on, a mile, maybe even further from home, Darrell sent his filly up. She isn't blessed with a lot of foot, but she's fit, and he knew she'd keep going, and he made them stretch a long way out, made them commit, and in the end, it looks, John, very much as though he's out-battled Star Player in the closing stages.
Yeah, she's really stuck her head out and wanted to win this filly. As you said, Darrell's given her a smashing ride, got her settled early on because she can take a little bit of a grip, and just niggling her along here, but just looking behind Star Player and Frankie Dettori, trying to coax him. They've just hit in the rising ground, and considering this was both of these two horses' first run for some time, in fact Star Player's had one run up at Catterick, then they pulled nicely away from the third horse, but really just looked like he was just hanging fire a little bit under Frankie Dettori, whereas Dimebag really wanted to win, got her head stuck out and giving her all.
And Dimebag has returned the 3-1 favourite. It did open at 2-1 and touched Burlington Bertie 100-30 on the course, so a generous price, 3-1 against Dimebag. The second, the reluctant Star Player, a 6-1 chance. And the third, not in doubt, went off the 4-1 joint second favourite. And of course on Tuesday, this combination of Barry Hills and Darrell Holland won the handicap with a well-backed 11-4 chance Tyconic, and they've got the steamer, Northern Bird, in the 4-10. So starting off here at Newmarket today, the first two favourites have gone in, 11-4, and now this creature at 3-1, and we've two forecast even money chances to come, Placerville and Barathea. Bookmakers on the retreat.
First, number 5, Dimebag, 3-1 favourite. Second, number 1, Star Player, 6-1. And third, number 2, Not in Doubt at 4-1. The tote pays £3.40 for the win. The place is £1.90 and £2.50. The dual forecast came to £6.90 and 7 runs. And at Ripon in the 2:15, the winner here was number 7, Lambent, 20-1. Second, number 8, Stimulant, 13-8 favourite. And third, number 4, Rapier Point at 9-4, 9 runs. And at Fontwell, the 2:30 was won by number 1, Gandouge Glen, 4-1. Second, number 15 at Pennethorne Place, 6-1. And third, number 4, Sure Pride, 20-1. Number 2, Cooley's Bell, was 9-4 favourite, 16 runs.
Right, now time for Dial Your Duo. This is our brand new competition. You could win £100 if you can give us two horses that you think will be in the first three in the 340 at Newmarket. That is the Craven Stakes. So pick two horses out of the runners, and if they're first and second, first and third, second and third, you'll be in with a chance of winning £100. You dial this number, 0891 400 004.
Now, the great fascination, of course, coming up in the Craven Stakes is Barathea. There's no doubt if Barathea wins impressively, it will take over at the head of the market over Zaphonic. The public have been put off Zaphonic by what the press has been writing, and some by what they've seen with their eyes at Maison Lafitte last Wednesday. Of course, what happened there is not actually what's going to happen here on May the 1st, but Barathea, they're looking for Barathea to run a really big race and take over from favouritism. But let's look at the tissue. The bookmakers forecast for the Craven, and they're showing even money against Barathea, with Wharf put in at 3-1, 13-2 against Chadleworth, 12 Emperor Jones, and of course John Gosden, the first race winner here today, so his stable's bang in form as well, and 14-1 against Reddenham, ridden by Lester Biggott. Now in the 410 we have a steamer, number 4 Northern Bird. Hills went 15-2, and they were soon limiting punters to 25 and 50 quid bets. Corals actually only went 9-2. So they knew something certainly there. But I did speak to the trainer of Northern Bird, Barry Hills. He said, the horse is what you see is what you get with a horse. There's no great improvement in her. None of his money is involved, but that is the Steamer Northern Bird. Doesn't say it won't win. It'll run a big race, but not a great deal of confidence there from Barry. And it's then 9-2, the Donny winner, Mr. Butch, 5-1, Lucayan Treasure, and Moonstrike. Oh my goodness, how excited we all are here. The three of the first four in the Guineas betting in the Craven. How is that going to affect the market? Will Zaphonic still be number one at the end of the day with the bookmakers?
It'll all be unrolled before your very eyes. Of course, the jumping season has just about been unrolled, and how Carolyn McCarthy won £146,000 for a fiver after the break.
If you, your partner or your parents are between 50 and 75 years of age, then this message will be of special interest to you. It's about the Senior Security Plan from Cornhill Insurance, a very easy, affordable way for people over 50 to take out new life assurance cover. I spoke to policyholder Roger Raven and his wife Rhoda to find out what attracted them most to the Cornhill Senior Security Plan.
It costs as little as £8 a month, and anyone can get it by signing a simple declaration.
That's true. I was accepted on the spot. There was no waiting, no medical checkups.
So, if you're between 50 and 75 and you'd like full details on the Senior Security Plan, phone Cornhill free of charge and without obligation on 0800 800 468. Operators are ready now to take your call. Our number again, 0800 800 468. Call now.
Country Love, a classic new album of 20 legendary hits from legendary artists. Country Love, songs that stay with you forever.
You can try stepping out, or you can try the two-step. But for a full-body, low-impact aerobic workout, you need the Pro Step. This lightweight stair climber, designed for the 21st century, is for people on the way up. In minutes a day, Pro Step can shape your thighs, your hips, your buttocks and calves as you work your heart and cardiovascular system. With one easy-to-do exercise program that's great for all age groups and levels of fitness. Because with Pro Step, you set the pace you exercise at, the place you exercise in, and at a time that's convenient to you. It can even save you money and space, as you don't need to make a new room for Pro Step. Its compact shape stores easily, and you can even take it with you on holidays.
With a little time spent each day on this exerciser, I feel so much fitter. Unbelievable. It's easy. I don't know why I didn't use this Pro Step exercise early. I really feel so much healthier and trimmer.
Feel how easy it is to shape those thighs, tone those buttocks, and replace that loose tissue with toned muscles as you step your way to a brighter, happier you. All with one low-impact Pro Step program the whole family can do. Why wait in line to use a friend's exerciser when you can use your own Pro Step in the privacy of your home? You can use Pro Step when you want, where you want. And best of all, Pro Step comes with Demtel's 100% no questions asked money-back guarantee. Because Pro Step can be yours right now for just $39.95. That's right, $39.95. So go on, start now and take a positive step forward in your life with a portable, affordable Pro Step system. Ring now, but don't send any money. That's right, do not send any money now. Ring 0800 820 810. That's 0800 820 810. Ring now to find out how you can get this great offer, even if you don't have a credit card. That's right, ring now.
This has been designed to give you all the information you need to help you choose and enjoy the wine inside. And so has this. Thresher Wine Shots. We'll help you get more out of a bottle of wine.
My, how racing in Britain, how racing on Channel 4 thrives on the sunshine. When the sun comes out, the whole thing seems to blossom. You have green grass and the whole day seems to smile at you. It really is quite different. Hard that we battle through the cold weather, it's not always quite so easy to share the enjoyment. But here I'm sure you can see what a fine day it is. And news from around the world now, classic news from around the world. Dayflower, the one of the leading fancies for the Madigan's 1,000 guineas, who was having her trial race in Dubai today over a mile on the Nadal Shivo. She got beaten, I'm afraid. She got beaten by Gura, one of Paddy Rudkin's 4-year-olds, beaten a couple of lengths, and obviously they're going back to the drawing board as to whether or not she'll make the journey across to run in the Madigan's 1,000 a fortnight today. Other news is that Eshaness definitely runs in the Scottish National. Jenny Pittman confirms he definitely runs in the Starkey Scottish National on Channel 4 live on Saturday. And Lyric Fantasy, the little flyer, the pocket rocket from Richard Hannon's stable, she does not run in the Fred Darling tomorrow at Newbury.
Here's a cheque for £151,080 that I'm going to award to this lovely lady here from Ireland that has won this in the Racing Post 10 to follow for the National Hunt season. Absolutely remarkable. She's Carolyn McCarthy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. So I've got to ask, how on earth did you do it? How did you pick 10 horses to beat everybody else?
Well, Tommy helped me a lot.
Tommy Stack, yeah. Yeah. And what?
Luck after that, I suppose.
Luck?
Yeah.
Which were your best horses? Which were the ones that really put you in the #1 spot?
The Cheltenham one, I think.
Yeah. Did it help you that the Grand National wasn't run?
Oh, it looks like it did.
Yeah.
I'd rather that it was run, really.
Yeah. I can see you're really excited about winning this great deal of money. You know, if I'd just 150 grand, I'd be, yahoo, Tomo, absolutely fantastic. Hey, what do you do? What do you do? You mentioned Tommy Stack. You were his nanny, weren't you?
No, not his child.
His child. Now she's going. Good one. And what are you doing at the moment? How are you going to spend this? Are you going to invest it or what?
Oh, sure. I might buy a new Honda, but the only trouble is they're so good you can't wear them out. The one I have is still on the bridle after 143,000 miles.
She's warming up now, isn't she? Let's have a look at the joint runners-up over here, because another girl is second, Katrina Galvin. Well, you got 36 grand.
Yes, incredible, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yes.
What do you do? Are you a racing lady or what?
Well, I like racing. I'm a village shopkeeper, actually, on the North Norfolk coast.
Really?
Yes.
And do you bet on horses, or is this a one-off or what?
Yes, no, I do bet on horses, yes.
Yeah. Well,
just a bit, just a little.
Now, you're a joint runner-up with Bruce McClellan. He's a scout for West Ham. He's better at picking horses than he... Now, Bruce, you're now chairman with all this much money, aren't you, of West Ham?
No, I've had that joke put upon me by
I bet you have. Yeah, but it's terrific. I mean,
financial controller.
Financial controller now. I mean, a few of the lads, I know the boys at West Ham like it. Did you all get together, or did you pick them yourself? Or what?
No, they're not involved. They're all pleased, but they're not involved.
Ah, but there'll be a few drinks down Upton Park.
Oh, yes.
Well, many, many congratulations, and especially to you with your new Honda. And if you want to try and win some money like this, well, you get the Racing Post. Entries close on Thursday, next Thursday, and you could win a cheque, at least that. It could be 200,000. All it costs is a £5. So it's well worth having a crack. And champagne bar?
We'll have another go.
Say no more. She will.
Money to spend, and bliss is a day in the grass. Father, son, not quite sure what the head on the left is. Maybe that's mother. I can't kind of work out actually which bodies belong to which, but anyway, a happy, relaxed scene. There's a lovely line actually. It's Henry James who said, summer afternoon, the two most beautiful words in the English language, and we're coming towards summer afternoon and all that it can entail. And you can take the coats off at last. And here are the runners for the next, and that is Placerville, one of the Henry Cecil runners who has only run once and is most impressive, though noticeable he's got precautionary bandages on, which is always a slight concern. This, the Field Stakes, over a mile and a furlong, obviously a mile and a furlong straight. 9 runners listed by Graham.
And the stalls placed on the far rail. Number 1 is Pembroke, unbeaten runner, ridden by Michael Roberts. Number 2 is Tiemann Island, ridden by Richard Quinn. Tiemann Island drawn 4, Richard Quinn's mount. Number 3, Al Jazaf at 8, Walter Swinburne. 4, Bitters End at 7, John Reed. 5, Desert Team at 3, Christy Roach. 6, I Am Ellie at 9, Frankie Dettori. 7, Placerville at 6, Pat Heddery. Number 8, Tar Hub at 1, Willie Carson. Number 9, Yeltsin at 5, ridden by Willie Ryan. Here's how they trade.
Placerville, the 5-4 on favourite. Pembroke is 9-2 from 4-1. And Bidders End 12-1 from 8. Desert Team also a 12-1 chance, along with Tarhoob and Yeltsin. German Island is 14-1 from 12-1. And now Bidders End has gone to 10. Bidders End now 10s, drifting out from 8-1. Resuming the show, El Jazaf is at 20s, and Iomeli, the outsider, 50-1.
Placerville again, the Abdullah colours. Pat Edery, who, of course, won with Commander-in-Chief, who is a Derby entry. This isn't a Derby entry, Placerville, but he is still one of those exciting horses that could be anything. Just one run in his life on this track last October. So what did this form amount to?
They've passed the 2, and as they race down into the dip, it's Placerville who goes on by about a half. Storm Canyon, the informer, the nearest pursuers at this stage. They race down inside the final furlong, and Placerville, Storm Canyon the outside, the informer back in third, and as they race up towards the line, it's Placerville by a half, but only by a half, but he's just extending it down as they race up to the line, and Placerville takes it from Storm Canyon in second. The informer was third.
And now Michael Roberts on Pembroke, a horse who does hold entries for both the 2,000 guineas and the Derby. Pembroke, who is by Gone West, the same sire as Stephonic. So his victory at Kempton last year, and he's won both, didn't cause quite so much hype.
And as they pass the 2, it's Revelation that just lengthens and goes on, but out wide, Flashbeat with a run, and then Pembroke between the pair. Baron Ferdinand isn't out of it either. They've got a furlong and a half to go. It's Flashbeat that takes the advantage on the outside. Pembroke really racing now and getting to work and lengthening and going on. And it's Pembroke going on from Flashbeat. As they race up towards the line, it's going to be Pembroke taking it from Flashbeat. Pembroke takes it from Flashbeat in second.
Placerville, the 5-4 on favourite. Pembroke 9-2. Bidders End 8-1. Desert Team on 12s together with Yeltsin. Tarhoob is 14s from 12s. And now Tiaman Island's gone out to 16-1. Al Jazaf on 20s and Iomeli, the outsider, 50-1. They're all quoted for the Fielden Stakes.
I mean, it's a bit silly, this.
Well, a much nicer day to be out looking at horses, and indeed the paddocks, relatively speaking, to the first 2 days of the meeting, crowded with racing fans. The runners, though, on their way to the start, led down by Taboo, a big imposing colt by Nordico, had just 2 races last year, won the first of them, still looked green when second to Emperor Jones in a little race at York. John, you liked him in the paddock.
I did. He's got a lot about him. Just got himself a little bit on his toes, but that's only to be expected. First run this year, and just the 2. He won nicely at Lingfield, and then I thought he was beaten by a decent horse in Emperor Jones. He's got plenty of size, and you'd expect him to have improved throughout the winter. Athletic sort, plenty of depth to him. There's Pat Edery on Placerville.
It'll be interesting to see this fella move down. He's quite heavily bandaged on his forelegs, and he was last year before the race that we've just shown you. He's a grand walker, but I remember last year he didn't move down at all well before he won. Whether it's just a habit of his, there you are. You wouldn't, even going away from us, you can see that he isn't the most fluent of strides.
And whatever he does, if he's close enough in the dip, he'll be much happier when he meets the rising ground. And
how would you describe his action, John?
Well, it's almost quite rounded. But as he canters towards us, maybe if the sun catches him, he's the most wonderful colour, this horse, a real dark bay, almost like a conker.
He's got that video Bruff showed a couple of minutes ago, showed tremendous enthusiasm and will for the job last year, didn't he?
Yeah, you can just see, he just hits the ground quite hard. And that's the type of horse that they're much happier when they're just going uphill, makes everything much easier for them, or when there's a little bit more cut in the ground. Looks happy enough, though. He's one of 2 Henry Cecil runners, the other one Yeltsin. Total contrast to him. Well, let's have a look at Bitters End. Richard Hannon's runners have been certainly doing themselves proud, and it wouldn't be the biggest surprise if Richard ended up with 2 or 3 runners in the first Colts Classic. Bitter's End, though, hasn't had much running, and he's a horse who I was quite impressed with when he ran at Doncaster behind Marastani. That was over this trip of a mile, and then last year just had the one run at Newbury behind Eurolink Thunder.
Nice, easy-going colt with a good outlook, his ears pricked, enjoying himself. I must say, looking at him in the paddock, while accepting what John says, he's a horse with something about him, I still think his coat didn't look as forward as one or two of the others, which, bearing in mind that he's had a run, has surprised me slightly. Anyway, the birthday boy has more news.
God, it's a very, very bad joke this is turning out to be, inaccurate and wrong. I'm not 53 and it's not my birthday. Right, Bitter's End, the only horse being backed to beat the favourite here. It was a 12-to-1 chance. Of course, Victor Chandler laid a £2,000 each way. Open 12 on the track is now an 8-to-1 chance. They're showing Bitter's End. They've bet 6-to-5 on, 5-to-4 on Placerville. Now up the arm on. 11-to-8 on Placerville, with Pembroke in places 11-to-2. They're generally 5 Pembroke. It is now an 11-to-2 chance Pembroke. 8 then Bitter's End. A bit of support for Yeltsin. Certainly Yeltsin in Russia needs some support. He's got support here. 10-to-1, the second string against Placerville. It's then 12-to-1 the Irish Horse Desert Team, and 14-to-1 Tahoe, 16-to-1 against 14-to-1 Tahoe, 16-to-1 Time in Ireland, and 50-to-1 the Rag, I O'Malley, and 25-to-1 Al Jazazaf. But only 2 horses backed. If you want an each-way bet in the race, I would suggest Bitter's End. A lot of support off course and here against the odds-on chance. I think Bitter's End should creep into the frame at least.
Happy birthday, John. Some summer.
Well, some well-wisher just wishing John a happy birthday. Nice to hear that.
Have you ever heard greetings so ungratefully received?
He looks, that's a real birthday suit that he's had specially made for this afternoon.
And he's got his birthday hat on.
And there's all the well-wishers around there. He's taken it all in his stride. Wonderful to see. Very happy birthday. Anyway, let's get on with Yeltsin. This horse ran over a mile in the mud last time. That's a bit of a contrast for him. And if you see just close up there, runs in a drop noseband.
What does that do, John?
Well, it just stops him from opening his mouth, really. Maybe just cocks his jaw slightly, which means they just set themselves, and sometimes they can just take a stronger hold than you'd like. And it's high enough that doesn't interfere with his breathing at all. Just makes him slightly more manageable for Willie Ryan. Jim, you were saying that the work watcher here, Geoffrey Faber, had actually gone for this horse.
Jeff's an experienced lad, and he watches work every morning. He's not just gone for it in preference to Placerville, he's napped it, which is quite interesting. Number 1, Pembroke, Michael Roberts, who presumably could have ridden, well, no, presumably could have ridden Yeltsin had he so wished. Again, that VT that Bruff showed, or recording I should say, just refreshes the memory a bit, and I thought when Pembroke won that day at Kempton, he was idling a bit in front, and Steve Cawthon just made him go to the front, and he was always holding the others. But he'll have to work a fair bit harder here, one would think, because he's conceding weight to all bar one of these.
And on a line through horse of Paul Cole's the Informer,
yeah.
Then he's got a bit to make up. And that's one of the reasons Paul Cole's running Tierman Island. We haven't seen him yet. He's a tall, leggy-looking individual by Midian. And if he's got quite a good form line through the Informer. Desert Team, Jim Bolger had a runner here yesterday with Irish Groom. Ran well, just got a little bit tired. Desert Team, certainly not without a chance on his best form. But really, at this stage of the season, you're just guessing in the dark as to how much they've improved.
Christy Roach riding this colt, and he looks wonderfully well, beautifully turned out, ready to run for his life. From the family of Jet Ski Lady, might require even further to be seen to best advantage. 8-11 Placerville, 11-2 Pembroke, 8-1 Bitter's End, 10-1 Bar. More hopes on the line. Here's Graham.
Early pace could very well come from Placerville, and indeed he broke out very smartly indeed. A little bit of scrimmaging in behind. Pembroke and Yeltsin at the back too early on. It's Placerville leading, with the Desert Team and Tahoop taking a very keen hold now and coming through to take up the running. And it's Tahoop the leader by about a half a length, the Desert Team, and then on the inside Placerville showing third. Just in behind these we find Pembroke travelling well. These are followed by Tahoop and Tierman Island. And it's Tahoop leading. Tarhub and Desert Team. Tarhub by about 3 parts of the length to Desert Team in second. And then in third is Placerville, followed by Pembroke in 4, and then Tierman Island and Al Jazaf with Yeltsin, one of the back markers. Bitters End on the left of the picture as they come down with just over 5 to go. It's still just Tarhub sharing it with Desert Team, and on the far side, Placerville getting back into the action again. The spotted colours of Bitters End coming a bit closer now, and following them through is Al Jazaf. Ayameli not out of it on the extreme left, but as they come down past the 3, it's Placerville going for the line now. Placerville in the lead. Here comes Pembroke nearest to us, and it's a duel between these two. Pushed along, Desert Team between them. That's losing its position. Bitters End keeping up a good gallop. They're racing down to the dip, but it's Pembroke who sets sail from Placerville in second place. Pembroke just veering over to his right a little bit. From in second place, Placerville, who's coming with a challenge to take up the running again. And Placerville goes into the lead as they head up towards the line, comes clear of Pembroke, and finishing best of all, Yeltsin as they race up towards the line. Placerville getting a bit tired. Placerville takes it from Desert Team in second. Yeltsin is third. A length and a half back to Tierman Island and Ayameli. Then came Pembroke, and the field trailed back to Tarhub, who was last of all. And so the result then of the field and stakes, it's a win for number 7 Placerville, and owned by Khalid Abdullah, trained here at Newmarket by Henry Cecil. A brave performance by this son of Mr. Prospector to rally to the call inside the final furlong under Pat Edery's driving, but took this listed race, the field and stakes, quite determinedly. Second horse home is number 5 Desert Team, Christy Roach. The son of Blushing Groom was doing his best work in the closing stages, second from the right. Third horse home in the white cap, that's number 9 Yeltsin. But Pembroke and Placerville got a little bit close together with 1.5 to go, but as they met the rising ground, it was Placerville's acceleration, this 11 to 8 on favourite, that saw him gain the day. On the left of the picture, Ayameli's run better than his final placing would suggest, and Bitters End surely has races in him as well. But in the end, it's Placerville and Mr. Prospector that's come home well.
Well, a fascinating race this. Ultimately, it went to the favourite Placerville, but not before the lead had swapped hands going into the closing stages. And the close-ups that our new camera affords us now can just see how it all suddenly changes. They got a decent gallop from the outset. Pat Edery making Placerville work a long way from home. Alongside him, Christy Roach, and near side now, Pembroke. And it's Pembroke at this point who has the best change of pace, puts everybody in trouble, but doesn't see out the race at all, John.
No, but Placerville, entitled to a little bit green. He's only just had the one run in his life. And when Pat's given him a crack behind the saddle, he's really buckled down to his work. And it seemed as though he didn't know what he was meant to be doing for a while. But when he did get the hang of things, he's fought back really well, because Pembroke had gone probably 3 parts of a length up on him. They've met the rising ground. Look at Tierman Island back in their yellow-black stripe. That's run on well in the closing stages. But the further they went, the better Placerville was going. And also, Desert Team, one to note, he was another horse always up there in the first 2. The further he went, the better he was going. As you said, he's related to Jet Ski Lady. Certainly a horse to look out for when he tackles further distances.
Up to the line now, and Yeltsin comes into picture, runs on to get into the placings. But Placerville, although only narrowly, just maybe a shade in hand.
And Placerville returned 11 to 8 on favourite. Up the arm on Placerville. Freddie Honor on the boards led an even monkey. Even £500, 6 to 5 on, 11 to 10 on, 5 to 4 on. Was bet round the ring. And it's the 11th favourite in 16 runnings to win it. The 4th at odds on. The others were Legal Bid in 87. Ivanhoe in 82. Both of those trained by Henry Cecil. And Carla Glow 12 years ago. The other odds on chance to win. The second Desert Team was a 12 to 1 chance. And the third, Yeltsin, went off at 10 to 1. For Placerville there for Henry Cecil and Pat Edery, increasing confidence behind Wharf in the Craven. And what a team Khalid Abdullah has got for the 2,000 guineas and for the Derby. And of course, above all, he's got Zaphonic.
Well, this particular individual, on the evidence of what we've seen here, to my eyes, I would suggest that he's probably not going to prove up to top standard. That might seem a little bit unfair on a horse that's just raced twice, but even if he were, let's say, John, of the ability to go to Epsom. Let's say he was promoted ahead of the others. His action and the way he moves would give you deep cause for concern running down the hill at Epsom, surely.
Yes, the only thing I would say about it was he looked happy enough. Some horses just don't look happy if they, when they're on ground that is a little bit on the far side for them. But I agree with you. Certainly at Epsom, you wouldn't be totally confident that he'd be so at home on that course.
But he's tremendously genuine. Showed a will to win, fought back, and had a bit of presence about him. I'm sure Henry Cecil will be able to find a group race for him, and I would think that would be the next target. He's won a maiden, won a listed race, now find a slightly more difficult test. But just from what we've seen so far, I think that my view is that he's going to fall short of the top standard.
First number 7, Placerville, 11 to 8 on favourites. Second number 5, Desert Team, 12 to 1. And third number 9, Yeltsin, returned at 10 to 1. The tote paid 170 for the win. The place is 120, 210 and 210 again. The dual forecast came to £6.90 and 9 rand. And at Ripon, the 245, that was won by number 7, Martina, 4 to 1. Second number 1, Another Episode, 7 to 4 favourite. And third number 6, Ever So Lonely at 2 to 1. On runners, numbers 2 and 4 and 6 rand. Fontville, the 3 o'clock. First number 1, Sarahville, even money favourite. Second number 3, Rue Valentino, 9 to 4. And third number 5, Mighty Frolic, 16 to 1, 8 rand.
Yeah, I have Mr. Cecil here. Henry Cecil, Placerville, still unbeaten.
Very
a Derby entry. Lazy, is he?
Lazy, isn't he? Very idle. I don't think he'll ever win his races very far, but he's sort of... I mean, he's very genuine, but he thought he'd done enough and he was sort of putting up with him. Yeah? But he gave him a lovely feel.
And what sort of rating do you give this race? If you're looking... He's got a Derby entry, is he a Derby class? Where do you go from here?
It depends. It's sort of time will tell, really, sort of see how he improves. Yeah? But I like to think it's a nice race. I mean, we're third with the Yeltsin. Got a little bit tired, a very lazy horse. Yeah? And he's a nice horse. Yeah? I mean, his form works out well with horse Ben Hammer is the second in the, what was it last year? Was it the Horace Hill?
The Horace Hill, yeah. I think so.
Think so?
Nodding.
It's encouraging. It's early days yet.
And Henry, he's got precautionary bandages on. Has he got a worry there?
No, it's just because he can hit himself, and let's just protect him. But his legs are very good.
So where are we likely to see him now?
I'm not sure. I still think.
Thinking about Wharf, which is coming all too quickly to the Craven Stakes. How much is he pleasing you this spring?
I'm pleased with him, and the grounds are drying up. But I'm not going to say anything else till after the race. I hate sort of saying anything. I just hope we run well.
Well, we're all here. The whole thing will get unrolled soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Sunshine in the paddock here. A gang of pressmen and others all trying to put the bits together of this classic puzzle. The classic puzzle, which of course will be unravelled enormously when we get to the Craven Stakes. But Derek's been picking up news from the last race, but of course several Derby entries, Derek.
Yeah, just had a quick chat with Jim Bolger, the Irish trainer. He's got 3 entries in the Derby. This horse he thinks definitely stay a mile and a half, so that's interesting. The second horse there, Desert Team, had a quick chat with Willie Ryan about Yeltsin. He said he was staying on really well, so obviously the longer trip. But I was worried a bit about Pembroke. You know, coming there 2 hours full of running, we thought he was going to win 2 or 3 lengths, and he found nothing. John Gosson said he did everything right, he just got tired, as simple as that.
But mile and a furlong, 3 furlongs short of a mile and a half. A long time to Epsom in many ways.
Well, it's not
only
too
2
far
months.
away, exactly, less than that, yeah.
We've got the Craven Stakes on next, and 8 of them are in the Guineas. Stay with us.
We were possibly the fattest teachers in Great Britain. That was us, believe it or not, Michael and Sheena Osborne.
Before we lost 66 pounds in just 3 months on the Slim Fast plan.
It's easy with Slim Fast. You have a delicious, nutritious shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and a proper dinner.
I lost 30 pounds with Slim Fast.
And I lost 36.
And we've never felt fitter.
And you can do it too, with Slim Fast.
Give Slim Fast a week. See the weight come off.
Car data matches car buyers to car sellers free, which means we can sell your car fast. Call car data on 081 882 8888.
Grandad's just retired to a lovely little cottage. Well, it's a wee bit wishy-washy. Could use a little warming up. Of course, there is an easier way to add light and warmth to a room. New Crown Cream's emulsion. 6 subtle shades of light colour that'll make any room nice and cosy.
Oh, it's lovely. But it just needs a little,
Make your home your own
No.
with Crown Cream.
Weedol makes weeds disappear fast. So, to get rid of weeds, remember the name. Oh, makes weeds disappear fast.
New vice versas from Nestle are brown chocolate in a white shell and white chocolate in a brown shell. So,
look twice before you leave. Things we want to see to be. Your waters run deep. It don't make no sense. The lesson here is crystal clear. Don't believe all that you see.
white is brown, and vice versa.
I was thinking we'll stick to pumping. No, but Ed, I'd love to go to the cinema tonight. The thrills, the spectacle, the romance.
The queue in the rain.
We could phone, put the tickets on Access.
Oh, right, but something intellectual.
The thing with two brains.
My cousin's in that.
Which one?
Both. Access. What your head requires.
For your heart's desires. The thing with two brains too?
Seen it.
Churchill could save you money on your car insurance. Call one of our people now and see how much you could save. You'll be surprised. Call Churchill free on 0800 200 300 for an instant quote, even instant cover. Right?
That's right. Free on 0800 200 300.
Call Churchill now and see how much you could save. Free on 0800 200 300.
Country Love, a classic new album of 20 legendary hits from legendary artists. Country Love, songs that stay with you forever.
It only takes about 4 minutes to call Commercial Union and see if you can make a big saving on your car insurance. If you don't do it, you must be...
20 minutes away from the big race at the Craven meeting, the Craven Stakes. The horses are getting saddled at this moment. Well, I tell you who's enjoyed a good Craven meeting, and that is the champion trainer, Richard Hannon. He sent out Niche to win the Nell Gwyn on the opening day, and his revelation was a very promising second in the European Free Handicap yesterday. And then after we came off the air yesterday, he saddled the newcomer Pomfret in the 2-year-old race, and this daughter of Cyrano de Bergerac was very well back to win first time. There were 2 individual bets went on of £4,000 apiece. And when the chips were down, Pomfret was always going to take first place.
Pomfret's leading by about a length to Indiara. On the outside, Actor's Advantage. Bursting with paces, Hips and Haws. Through on the inside, nearest to us, Sweet Caroline. And they come down to the halfway stage. Hips and Pomfret's leading by about a length. Indiara on the left in the orange cap. Just a length and a half behind these comes Hips and Haws. Access Advantage on the extreme left, ridden along by Ray Cochrane. Leicester's feeling confident to come down to the final furlong on Pomfret's in the white cap. The one on the outside, Indiara, is his only challenger. They're inside the final furlong, and Pomfret just lengthens and goes on, quickens up and goes away. And up the line, it's Pomfret who is the winner. From Indiara in second, it's going to be close for third, with Nakita just taking third from Access Advantage.
She's pretty quick, isn't she, Pomfret? She'll run next in the National Stakes, and that's the race that Lyric Fantasy won last year in the same colours of Lord Carnarvon. Well, the Wood Ditton Stakes is a race that invariably throws up plenty of potential winners. It's for unraced 3-year-olds over a mile, and yesterday the Henry Cecil newcomer Mecklenburg was the 5-2 favourite. The race was delayed because 2 horses were withdrawn, and during the race, Liwan broke a leg and had to be put down. But the Wood Ditton produced the closest finish of the day. Let's see the closing stages.
And it's Lee Wan, the red cap, the horse with the noseband on the right, Fluvial, and Fabulous and Toto between the pair. On the left of the leading four in the star jacket, that's Barratry. These are followed by Adria, but that's Pateterie on Fluvial, just heading the parade, but they're queuing up to take him on. Richard Hill's coming up there nicely. On the extreme right, Curtle Lace, John Reed is travelling well, and we've lost one there. Lee Wan has broken down, and it's Fluvial in the lead. Fluvial leading. Barratry on the extreme left is Sharaj. Just over 2 furlongs to go. Pink cap Fluvial in the apricot colours. Curtle Lace coming there strongly. On the extreme right is Mount Templeman. On the extreme left with the green sleeves, that's Sharaj. They race down into the dip, just over a furlong to go. And look at this burst of pace by Mount Templeman, who's come to press Fluvial in the pink cap, and it's Mount Templeman, the horse with the noseband, just inching ahead of Fluvial, who settles down to fight it out, and Fluvial rallies, and Mount Templeman, it's a ding-dong struggle to the line, and at the line, a photo, Fluvial, Mount Templeman, and a triple photo for third.
A desperate counter thrust there by Pateterie, getting back up on the line, but virtually no money bet in the race, so you wonder if the Wood Ditton form will stand up this season as it normally does. Now looking to the Craven here, 28 favourites and 87 runnings this century have won it, but it is not a good race to bet the odds on. There have been 11 odds-on winners, but 12 odds-on losers this century in the Craven, and they're making Barathea odds-on. 11 to 10 on is now 5 to 4 on Barathea. They pushed out Wharf out to 4 to 1 now, Wharf, 8 to 1 against Chadleworth. It's then 12 to 1 Emperor Jones, 14 Nominator and Reddenham, 25 to 1 Ivory Frontier, and Ventra Quatlier Folgier. Well, I'll give up on that, and GG, if that wins, he'll be calling it all night. And 20 to 1 Kanaska Star for Barathea, 5 to 4 on. Is it going to be the 12th odds-on winner of the Craven this century, or is it going to be the 13th odds-on loser?
Before we come to the Craven Stakes, let's pursue this contentious issue of the rated stakes, the rated handicaps, which we've been worried about this week. We've had 3 races so far. The latest of the series was the Swaffham handicap, was actually the Toast Racing Post 10 to follow rated handicap. And that was on today. Previous years, if you look at the statistics, the average over the last 20 years has been 10 runners. Today, there were 7 runners, 30% down on the average. That, after all, picks up the thread which we saw in the Rosebery Stakes, which Rosebery handicap, number of runners in 1992 were 14, 9 this year. The Swaffham handicap was 17 and 6 this year. Well, the actual betting turnover in the Rosebery and the Swaffham is actually 15% down. Well, today, in today's press, David Oldry, the chairman of the Race Planning Committee, who thought up the changes in a particularly thoughtful letter, he responded to the problems, and he first of all conceded the idea of taking the word handicap out of the title, which was a vociferous one and shouted about an awful lot. Well, that's been conceded. They will be called rated handicaps in future. But on the issue of the rated stakes, rated handicaps, actually being less attractive and less competitive, he responds firmly. He doesn't actually agree that it's a bad idea having them too low, particularly what he said. But the aim of a rated stakes, rated handicap, is not the largest field possible, but a good class and very competitive race with 8 or 10 runners. Hardly any will attract more than 12 to 13. Indeed, if they did, it would undermine the whole point of putting them on in the first place. Well, with us now is Mike Dillon of Ladbrokes. Indeed, the sponsor, was it the Swaffham you were a sponsor of?
Yes, we used to sponsor the Swaffham last year, and when it became a rated stakes, I declined to sponsor it this year because I thought that numerically it would drop. I don't see how these races can be in the interest of the punters, and at the end of the day, we're looking at a shortfall in leviable turnover. You know, I mean, how can the race that's just been on the Racing Post 10 to follow be in the interest of the punters? I mean, we had 7 runners. It was an extended weight band last year, which was fine, and we had 3 horses in the handicap. I honestly don't believe it's of benefit visually, and it's certainly we find that the punters don't want it.
Well, you're coming in very early days, only take a sample of 3.
Absolutely.
But the David Oldry theory, and after all they've looked into this very deeply, is that you will get more competitive racing because it's a top weight band. It's a stone, but it's a top weight band. And what they're saying is actually going to be more competitive. Well, are you saying it's not more competitive?
I think, as you say, it's early days, but we voiced a concern before this was implemented, and it was a worry for us. I mean, obviously the top handicaps like the Air Gold Cup and the Cesarewitch and those sort of things are not influenced at all by this new scheme. In fact, they brought the weight range down to 9, 10 from 10 stone, which obviously induces better horses to run. But I think that when you have a reduced thing, it becomes more uncompetitive rather than competitive. And of course, from the punters' point of view, and I think we must consider them in this, they lose a lot of betting opportunities. I mean, that Swaffham handicap, there were 16 runners, there were 4 places last year, it was a quarter of the odds and not a fifth. They lose the tri-cast, so they're losing on a lot of opportunities to bet, and of course that will affect the levy.
For you to make more money. Well, I mean, what the older theory is, it's giving, he quotes Sir Harry Hardman, he's saying it gives trainers and owners with horses more chance of actually getting some return for keeping a reasonable horse in training. That's his theory.
I mean, we're all for initiatives for competitive racing. In fact, we were at the forefront with the consolation race at Ayr, you will remember, the Silver Cup. I mean, the Sir Harry Hardman example is probably not a fair one because the horse has, in fact, come down £18 in the handicap in the last year, so maybe it could win off its old mark and, off its new mark and not its old mark. But, I mean, we're all for initiatives to bring more competitive racing, but after the shortfall in the levy with the Grand National fiasco where, you know, there is a shortfall of £1 million already, we don't really want anything that will jeopardise the levy any further.
Well, the last year and the last 2 years, racing sort of policy has been disfigured by a fair degree of slanging match across the barricades. To what extent do you have communications now with the Jockey Club? Do you imagine that this will actually get resolved? Are you going to get in there and discuss it?
Oh, without question. I mean, we were invited in the spring and we did voice our reservations, and as I said, we sponsored the Swaffham last year. It was the Ladbroke Handicap last year, and we declined to sponsor it this year, and we moved our money to somewhere where we felt we would get a better return. I would just ask Mr. Aldry to review it, you know, quite quickly and maybe put some changes in by the middle of the summer if he feels it's not working. I mean, we certainly feel, and the punters tell us, that it's not what they want. They're losing opportunities, and if they're losing opportunities, we'll lose levy, and that won't be in anybody's interests.
And not yours particularly. Michael, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ripon, the 3:15. First, number 3, Just You Dare, 15-8, joint favourite. Second, number 4, the Premier Express, 11-2. And third, number 2, Wordsmith at 15-8. And 5 rounds.
10 minutes to go to the Craven. The horses are in the paddock. Last chance to have a go at Dial Your Duo. If you want to win the 3 first prize of £100, this is what you've got to do. Pick 2 horses that you think will finish in the first 3 in this race. And when you've worked that out, ring this number, 0891 400 004. And the 3 lucky winners will be announced live on Channel 4 Racing this afternoon.
The Craven Stakes, the big race, the name race of the Craven meeting. 23,000 to the winner, up the straight full Guineas mile. 8 of these 9 runners are in the Guineas, and they're all listed now.
Stalls placed in the centre of the course for this one. Number 1, Ivory Frontier, drawn 4, Christy Roach. 2, Wharf at 9, Pat Edery. 3, Barathea at 5, Michael Roberts. 4, Kanaska Star at 3, Frankie Dettori. Number 5, Chattleworth at 7, John Reed. Number 6, Emperor Jones at 1, Ray Cochrane wearing a white cap. Number 7, Nominator at 2, Willie Ryan. Number 8, Reddenham, drawn 8, Lester Piggott. And number 9, Ventry Catry-Fogley at 6, ridden by Willie Carson. Let's see how they bet.
Barathea is the 5-4 on favourite. Wharf is 9-2, opened up at 7-2. Chattleworth 8-1 from 7s, and Emperor Jones 14s and 12-1, as is Nominator. Reddenham's out at 16-1, opened up at 12s. Pontycroce-Fogley is on 20s, and now Chattleworth's gone to 9-1. Chattleworth now 9-1, opened at 7-1. Resuming the show, Ivory Frontier's the outsider, 33-1.
Pontycroce-Fogley means 24 pages in Italian before anybody asks. Number 3, Barathea, who at this moment is arguably the most exciting flat race horse in the world. Exciting because at the moment everything is possible. He's been working so well. He's actually challenging the Phonic for 2,000 guineas favouritism. But let's confine ourselves to his public form and now take in the last time you've seen on a racecourse. He may yet prove to be a wonder horse. He was giving £7 to Storm Canyon in the Houghton Stakes. But would you invest your last shilling on the strength of just this performance?
And it's Danny Boyd keeping up the gallop. Barathea's going well. Storm Crossing on the left now is called on for effort, not going as well as Barathea, but now comes to share it. Celeros on the outside, inside the final furlong, and it's Storm Canyon going on, but Barathea is certainly giving him a race, and these 2 good colts are pulling clear of the remainder as they race up towards the line. And Storm Canyon the far side, and Barathea nearest to us, and at the line it's going to be a photo between Barathea and Storm Canyon.
I thought that was a very good performance to fight back and win by Barathea, but this is the big rival today. This is Wharf, currently on offer at 9-2. He's also been performing well on the gallops here at Newmarket this spring. He's a son of Stormbird. He won both his races last year, comfortably beating Right Wind first time out at Newmarket, and that could be good form. But he had to work much harder to beat one of his rivals today, Kanaska Star at Newmarket July meeting.
And it's all to play for, 4 in line, with Majestic Hawk on the outside of Wharf, and Pip's Pride battling away there. Treasure Key, the rail, and Kanaska Star is pulled wide for a run. Any one of 5 could win as they come down to the final furlong. And it's Wharf just going on from Pip's Pride. Treasure Key battles back the rails. Here comes Kanaska Star on the outside under Steve Corford. And Wharf, but Kanaska Star is putting in a big finish. Wharf and Kanaska Star as they race up towards the line. Wharf just holds it. It's hard, but Wharf gets there by a neck.
And this is Emperor Jones, carrying the second colours of Sheik Mohammed, worn by Ray Cochrane, the white cap. And this son of Danzig won 2 of his 3 races last year, all over 7 furlongs, culminating in this emphatic success at York last October.
As they come down towards the 2, and Emperor Jones goes a couple of lengths clear of Tar Hub in a matter of strides. The rest are toiling in their wake at this stage. 1.5 to go. And Emperor Jones are just having to get to work, and Tar Hub is after him. Colway Rock in the white cap is finishing with some effect. They're inside the final furlong, and Emperor Jones going on by 2 to 3 lengths now, and Emperor Jones striding clear, hanging away from the rail, and Ray Cochrane changes his whip hand clear of the line. It's Emperor Jones who takes it, and it's a photo second.
And Barathea on his way to post. Similar sort of action to the horse that we were looking at and showing you in the last race. That was Placerville. And if he comes back half as well, then I should think Michael Roberts would be more than pleased.
Big imposing horse, the biggest of this lot, very deep through the body. Looked well when he first came into the paddock, but John was just saying to me he thinks I'm being a little bit critical because he says it's plenty warm enough, but he's a little bit edgy.
Certainly had a good hard race against Storm Canyon on his last run. That wouldn't have done him any harm whatsoever. Knows what the game is all about. Reddenham just cantering down in the background, the familiar silhouette of Leicester. And he's always been a favourite of Richard Hannon's Reddenham, and didn't have much racing last year. Had one run at Doncaster in the Racing Post Trophy over a mile. The ground was probably a lot too soft from that day. We finished behind Armiger, but that was his first run since putting in a very impressive performance at Newbury.
Just leaning on the bridle a little bit as he goes down. Leicester's gradually winding him down steadily, but certainly an impressive mover. But I think the jockey would be happier if he just dropped his bit a little bit, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I actually think he's just pleased to be out. Nice warm afternoon. Probably came up yesterday from Richard Hannon's yard. Certainly wouldn't be too disappointed with that. Let's have a look at Nominator now. Tremendous credit to both himself and Reg Hollinshead, this horse. He ran in the Brocklesbury last year, finished up in the race call Trophy, ran 18 times in total. Probably put up one of his best performances here, winning the Somerville Tattersall Stakes, and with a really bonny little horse.
Christy Roach and Willie Carson on Imperial Frontier, and Venti Catrifoli.
Barathea, the 5-4 on favourite. Wharf is 4-1 now. Shuttleworth a 10-1 chance, Evans of 7s. Nominator at 12s, Backlund 14s. And Emperor Jones 16-1 from 14-1, Evans at 12-1. Reddenham now out to 20s and 12s. Montecroce Fergley is 33s. And Ivory Frontier 40-1.
Well, they're all just taking their time down at the start. Wharf.
Looks very fit, Wharf, doesn't he?
He did. It's It's not very often that Henry's looked quite as light as I thought he looked walking around the paddock beforehand. One maybe with just a little bit in hand when he won that July Stakes with the Kanaska Star behind him. And interesting just looking at the betting there that the Kanaska Star wasn't actually figured in the betting because he certainly wouldn't be without a chance. Melly of Paul's ran well in the last race.
Peter Chapel-Hyam's representative is Chadleworth, a lengthy, attractive colt this by Ahunora, the sire of Peter's Derby winner last year, Dr. Delius. Of course, this fella has loads to prove to show that he's anything like in that league, but he certainly fills the eye as an individual. Made a pleasing debut on the racecourse last June, winning a maiden at Newbury, beating 6 opponents easily. Had a setback afterwards and didn't race again, but apparently is held in high regard. I think for certain he's got a lot of ability, otherwise he wouldn't be in this race this afternoon.
Even on the line through Needlegun, he's got to have a chance. Doesn't have to have improved too much to take a hand in this. John Reed, there are a couple here that he could have ridden. I think he's pleased to be on board this horse. Anyway, we were talking about Kanaska Star earlier. He wasn't in the betting. Let's have a look, see whether he is now.
And Kanaska Star is a 25-to-1 shot. Barathea, the 6-to-5 on favourite now. Wharf is 4-to-1 and Chadleworth at 10s. Nominator 11s. Emperor Jones on 16s. Reddenham at 20s. Kanaska Star 25s. Vontriquatri Fogley 33-to-1 and Ivory Frontier, the outsider, at 40s.
There's Grandad, Willie Carson, chirping like a teenager, no doubt, down at the start. He'll be having some chari-vari with somebody for sure.
Not totally without a chance on this horse of John Dunlop's. Ran some good races abroad last year. Let's have a look at Emperor Jones. We've just seen the video of him winning at York. He's a horse that I like. He's a smashing looking horse, this. And I think the further he goes, the better he's going to be.
Interestingly, he came to hand early last year. Well, not early, first time out. He really caught fire when expected at Newmarket, came bursting through the field to win a maiden at the July course in good style. And perhaps, although we showed him winning subsequent to that, didn't quite make the progress that I think was expected from him. Might be a horse who goes well fresh. Here's news from the birthday boy.
Emperor Jones put in at 16-to-1. Now, the first 3 favourites have gone in today, and the bookmakers, some of them, are trying to smash their way out of trouble in one hit by getting going into Barathea, who's come back from touch-even money early on to 11-to-8 on, is now tips on 11-to-10 on Barathea, and some rails bookmakers are now trying to get it. They back Wharf from 9-to-2 into 4-to-1 Wharf, 10 Chadleworth, and good support for nominator number 7 from 14-to-1 into 11-to-1. Now the fit nominator is then 16 Emperor Jones, 25-to-1 against Kanaska Star, and it's 40 Imperial Frontier, 11-to-10 on Barathea.
Loading the stall zone for this Craven Stakes, the Group 3 race. Early pace could come from Nominator, or Reddenham, or Ventricutri Fogley, but that's it. They're under orders, and they're away. And Kanaska Star was a little bit sleepy in the stalls, and that's the early trailer, but it's Reddenham, Leicester in the yellow cap going on, with Wharf on his left, looking for the favourite Barathea at this stage, and is tucked away towards the back. But Nominator in the red jacket has come to share it with Reddenham. So it's Reddenham the yellow cap, Nominator the red colours, white cap is Emperor Jones, and they're the leading pair. The 2 front runners absolutely stride for stride, and they're working well. Coming down the centre of the track, just a length behind these, comes the chasing pack, headed by Emperor Jones, with Wharf behind that one. The favourite Barathea is on the stand side, just 2 or 3 behind at this stage. Chadleworth is tucked away, so too Ivory Frontier, and also Ventricutri Fogley. So it's Reddenham on the left and the yellow cap, the leader. Reddenham leading from, in second place, Nominator. Those still stride for stride. See the chasing pack, and just behind them we find the white cap of Emperor Jones. Wharf pushed along, Chadleworth with a run. Barathea gets to work under Michael Roberts, and they come down past the 2, and they spread right across the track. And here comes Barathea unleashing his run on the right of the leaders, coming to share it with Emperor Jones. Nominator, just a little bit of the meat in the sandwich. Chadleworth runs a big race on the far side. Emperor Jones going all over the shop. Ventricutri Fogley is very wide indeed, but a length or so off the pace as they come inside the final furlong. And it's Wharf, the pink cap, white cap Emperor Jones, Barathea right down the stands rails. Ventricutri Quattrifogli. A photo to the outcome of this the Craven Stakes between Emperor Jones and Wharf. Those two fought it out in the dying stride. Well, I'm not sure if we've seen a Guineas winner here, despite the strong pace. The closing stages went to number 6 for me, Emperor Jones, from number 2, Wharf, and it's a close call for third place. Willie Carson bringing Ventry Quattrifogli right down the stand side. So let's have a look as they flash past the post in this Craven Stakes. And Emperor Jones and Wharf, Ray Cochrane and Pat Heddery absolutely stride for stride. Right down the stand side is Ventry Quattrifogli. Ivory Frontier isn't that far away, neither is Barathea. But the photo for first place concerns the white cap of Emperor Jones and the pink cap of Wharf. It's going to be close for third too. Ventry Quattrifogli right at the bottom of your picture, Barathea and Ivory Frontier. And for me, those 5 good horses, clear of Chattleworth and Nominator. Nominator a little bit disappointing perhaps to be 3 lengths off the pace, but they can't all be champions. But what they can be is determined horses. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a steward's inquiry called here. Barathea came across with Emperor Jones, just squeezing up Nominator and Reddenham. But as they drive to the line, Ray Cochrane, the white cap, Pat Heddery, the pink cap, the judge calls a photo between those two. Barathea just ran out of steam a bit close home. Right on the far rails is Ventry Quattrifogli.
Well, it may not have thrown up a classic winner this race, but it's sure as heck provided a tremendous finish with going into the dip, any one of half a dozen in with a shout. And that is a very close photo, although, as Graham said, the angle does seem to suggest that maybe Emperor Jones has got it on the nod. Ray Cochrane, smiling Ray Cochrane coming in behind John Reed on Chattleworth. I'm sure John won't be too disappointed with Chattleworth, just the second run of his life. Ray Cochrane on Emperor Jones.
Ray's new diet obviously paying dividends. He was getting stuck into plenty of potatoes and chips and fish and enjoying himself yesterday. And a bit of humour, a little bit more strength. And basically most of these horses are fairly inexperienced, and as Jim was saying, Chattleworth run a marvellous race. He hasn't run for the best part of a year, and most of these only had just a couple of runs. But let's have a look at the head-on of this race, because it looked as though there was a little bit of bumping. In the yellow hat there, third from the left, that's Reddenham. Then it's Wharf next to him and Chattleworth, that's on the outside. Nominator in the red colours now, just being challenged by Reddenham on his outside and Barathea on the outside of him. And as Ray Cochrane, with his whip in his right hand, he's definitely just come over a little bit in front of Reddenham. It's just a question of whether he's interfered with Wharf. And I think the answer to that is no, he hasn't, certainly from what we've seen there. I'd be very surprised if the stewards alter the result at all. Well, that's what it looked like from the front. You can see Ventry Quattrifogli on the outside running well. Let's just have a look at the side-on view now. 6 horses in a line here if they've met the rising ground. Chattleworth still on the bridle there on the left of the picture, probably going better than anything at that stage. Just got a little bit tired in the closing stages. Now here comes Emperor Jones. Well, was Reddenham denied a run? Maybe just a little bit. That won't be an easy one for the judges to sort out, but from 6 it's gone to 4, and that's come down to, we're just getting, yeah, number 6 Emperor Jones, the horse in the middle of those 3 on the far side, has won it. The dark horse, Sheik Mohammed's colours with a white hat, and Wharf on the far side, Carol, that just denied a big race double, and the third horse home was in actual fact Barathea. Ventry Quattrifogli was 4th. And there is the winner. There's the winner, and here's John McCririck.
And Emperor Jones at 14-1. He did touch 16-1. Gives bookmakers the result they needed after the first 3 favourites have gone in today. The second horse, Wharf, a 4-1 chance. And the third, Ventra Quattrofalgi, went off at a pony 25 to 1. The fourth, Barathea, sent off the 11 to 10 on favourite, and it's the 13th odds-on failure this century. Guy Harwood's Warning and Toagori Moo, you remember in the 80s, Tromoth and the highly hyped Crown Prince in the 70s, and Dandini and Eagle in the 60s. Not a good race to bet the odds on. A close finish. It will be surprising now if Zaphonic isn't very hot indeed for the 2,000 guineas after Emperor Jones at 14 to 1 in that blanket finish. Was that classic winning form?
Well, it's difficult to say how the outcome of these horses would be when they meet again. Nothing covering the first four home. But it's got to be said, although the ground was soft over in Paris the other day, there was only a thimble covering the first three home between King Mando and Zaphonic. And it's certainly making up into a really exciting Guineas.
Ray must have been very pleased with the resolution that Emperor Jones showed there, John, because he really did knuckle down. He had a hard race up the hill. The honours of the race, if not first prize, go to Wolf, because he was conceding in weight. But Emperor Jones, it was, who was the strongest up the hill. What's his pedigree say? Well, he's actually a very well-bred horse. He's by Danzig, who was champion sire in America in 1991 and 92. Ray posing for, there's one for the mantelpiece. But anyway, Danzig ran just 3 times himself, but he's been a tremendous success in a relatively short time at stud. Out of a mare, Key Royalty, that those of you who follow racing will know has served Michael Stout pretty well. Mash Lude was a good horse that Michael trained from the family. And other good ones in the pedigree include Baccaroff, who Guy Harwood trained, and also Tyre, that Jim Bolger trained. So he's a well-bred horse, there's no doubt about that.
News has just come in that Zaphonic is a definite runner in the 2,000 guineas. That has just been confirmed by Grant Pritchard Gordon, the racing manager for Khalid Abdallah. I talked to him about the second place, Wharf. They're discussing that with the owner. No decision yet about Wharf, but the big news is that is confirmed. Zaphonic definitely runs in the guineas.
And here are the starting prices on the Craven Stakes. First, number 6, Emperor Jones, 14 to 1. Second, number 2, Wharf, 4 to 1. And third, number 9, Ventra Quattrofalgi at 25 to 1. Number 3, Barathea was the 11 to 10 on favourite. The tote paid £13.80 for the win. The places 290, 140 and 320 and 9 rounds. And at Fontrel, the 330 went to number 4, Brightling Boy at 9 to 1. The second, number 7, Envité d'Honneur, 5 to 1. And third, number 15, Lady Polly, 33 to 1. Number 2, Chamois Boy was 5 to 2 favourite. Non-runner 11 and 14 rounds.
That's how close it was, thanks to R2S, the first 5 home, and very close. A great innovation this week. They've been announcing the first 6 home from the judge. Why do we have to left with just the first 3 or 4? The first 6 have been announced. The winning time's also been announced, 1:37:40, which is much the fastest mile time of the week, and the situation here clearly drying out, but decent time, but they were all in a heap. And one noted judge here said, what about Inchinor? Inchinor was the horse who beat Emperor Jones last year. Forgotten horse of the 2,000 guineas. There we are.
Cantonese beef, made simple by Sharwoods. Slice the beef and peppers. Stir-fry the